It's Freezebabee, and this is Vlogtober Fest number 1, October 1st, 2018. This is also my very first podcast, so this is Freezebabee's Fiber Frolic. Oh, that's a mouthful. Anyways, I'm going to keep this short because, like I said, it's my first time and I haven't got all my show notes downloaded yet, so I'm going to go over some of my unfinished objects and, just tell you a little bit about myself. I've been knitting for 50 years. I started out when my mother started taking lessons because my oldest sister was pregnant with her first baby. So my mom learned how to knit, and as she was learning, she taught me. Well, all I ever learned was how to do straight knitting. I didn't know how to do increases or decreases. So after that, I learned how to crochet, and I did that. I picked that up a lot better than I did the knitting. I did that a lot longer. I kept up with that for quite a while. Knitting, I kind of took a break. And as I got older, I learned other things like cross stitch, crewel, needlepoint, all the whole gamut. I also know how to quilt, and so I don't make clothing so much anymore. I do want to start making project bags, and I'm addicted to podcasts. I'll have to give out some shout outs, and eventually I will. I'd like to, show my favorite podcasts and my favorite people that I buy from. I'm not going to be buying a lot of yarn stash right now because I've got a lot. Like I said, I've been knitting for 50 years, and the last 14 years or so I've really enhanced my stash. They say sock yarn doesn't count. Well, I've got 3 drawers of sock yarn. Anyhow, I think I'll show you some of my UFOs. First off, I should tell you where I'm located on social media. I'm Freezebabee on Instagram. Ravelry, I'm Cindy Luhu for you. I'll put all this in my show notes when I post this. Also, on Etsy, I'm knitwillis. I don't sell anything right now. I do buy stuff. Primarily right now, it's project bags and stitch markers. I have some people that I do buy on a regular basis. So now I'm going to go over some of my works in progress. I'm just going to do 2 of them right now because, like I said, I didn't get my show notes finished, but I really want to be organized and be able to share things with you because, like I said, this is a great wide world out here with the podcasts, and like I said, I've probably got 180 of them saved on mine as favorites. So I will try and do some shout outs. My first project I'm going to show you is the Birds of a Feather from Andrea Mawry. She's I bought mine on Ravelry. She's Drea knits on there, and I will try and put a link to their. She also featured this in another magazine. I don't know. I think it was in Lane. Anyways, it's been a pretty good project. I'm still fighting with some of the lace sections because my for some reason or other my stitch count isn't turning out right. So I've frogged back. The yarn I'm using is from KnitStyle yarns. I love Sharon and her husband Rich. They're one of my favorite podcasts. They're KnitStyle on there, and I'm using her yarn. There's 2 different kinds that you go with this. Posh Sock, which is a 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. It takes 2 skeins. It's a really soft yarn. It's very fluffy. And then the other yarn is the Lush lace, which is 72% kid mohair with silk. And that was 1 skein, and I don't know if you can really tell what it's like here, but it's beautiful. It's very soft. And the colorway for both of those types of yarn are called Party and a Skein. Like I said, it's a beautiful, beautiful soft yarn. And Sharon always does a great job on her dyeing. Like I said, I bought some sock yarn from her and some project bags. She does a partnership with Donna Designs, and I'll show you one of Donna's bags in a second with my sock bag. The bag that I got this project in is by Longviewcreations. It's probably backwards, I'm sure, but they're on Etsy, and I will also put their I'll put the link for them. It's a really good project bag. love, you know, I'm a very quirky person, so I collect a lot of stuff, and one of the things I have is a lot of Muppets and Hello Kitty. Oh my God, you have no idea. I've been collecting Hello Kitty for probably 25 years, 30 years. Anyhow, that's the first project, and then the other project, which is, again, it's in the project bag that I got from Donna's Designs. Donna's Designs. She's on Etsy as well. Her and Sharon from KnitStyle Yarns do monthly. Each month they have it like a specific sock yarn and a bag that they feature. So I bought a couple of them, and in this bag I'm doing a sock. Socks are by far my hands down my favorite thing to knit, and I prefer to do textured socks. I don't think I've ever done a vanilla sock, and I always do them on 2 circulars. I learned how to do socks by following Kat Borhe's book, Sock Sewing and 2 Circular Knit. So that's what I'm doing mine on. I'm just barely getting started on the design, but this project is a new pattern by Kate F. Jones. She's with the Bakery Bears podcast. Great design. I'm enjoying it. I purchased it through Ravelry. She just put out a new sock set, pattern set called, I think it's called Miss Potter's Patterns Socks. It's based on Beatrix Potter. So this month's design is Jemima, and it's really cute. And I'm doing it on TOFUtsies. TOFUtsies is a great yarn for people in Florida. Like I said, I'm in Central Florida, and it's hot. Of course, I'm always cold. That's hence the Freezebabee. I never wear sandals. I always wear socks. So the TOFUtsies is great because it's got a light fingering. It's a light fingering, and it's 50% wool, 25% manufactured fibers, which is soy silk, and then 22% cotton, and then 3% other. I will say part of the fibers in here, the other, I guess, is shells, crab shells fibers, and I guess it's supposed to be antimicrobial, whatever that means. Anyways, this pattern is really great. I'm enjoying it. And I will eventually also put down who my stitch markers are from. Oh, and this colorway is called 740 pink, black, and yellow, 464 yards. I purchased it through SWTC yarn.com, which is Southwest Trading Company. At one time, probably 10, 12 years ago, I was in their Sock of the Month Club, and so I have had a lot of it at that time. I think I'm down to maybe 4 skeins left. I also prefer, my favorite needles are HiyaHiya sharps, and also I do use some Addies, and I do Chiago too. Chiago. Well, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, but like I said, I actually prefer bamboo sometimes, because especially when I'm using some of the yarn that's very slippery, I want it to be able to grab so I don't lose the stitches. I do use double points once in a while, but by far my favorite way is to use circulars. Anyhow, I wanted to give a shout out to some of my friends that are running podcasts. Number one is Kristen Amdahl's podcast. She used to be called Yarn on the Beach, but now she's Create, Share, and Inspire. Every morning at usually around 7:45, she does a podcast from a lot of times from the beach in South Florida. So I wanted to give her a shout out. I've gotten to be friends with everybody on that group. We're like family, really. I mean, we support each other. She has a great Facebook group, and like again, everybody, you know, she's a great teacher. She's a great designer. I've got my Morgana shawl back here. I'll show it some other time. But anyways, I wanted to give her a shout out. I also wanted to give a shout out to one of my friends, Sheena McNeely. She's the casual fashion queen. She's actually the first podcast I started watching. We got to be friends from the farmer's market in Winter Garden, Florida, but I buy a lot of my yarn from her too, and I just wanted to give her a shout out because she was the first podcast I watched. I will, like I said, I will talk about some of the other podcasters as I go along. I wanted to kind of keep this short as this is my first one, and I got to edit it, and it's going on 10 o'clock at night here, and I think I need to get myself ready for bed. Anyhow, it's been nice meeting you again. My name is Cindy. This is Freezebabee's Fiber Frolic. And I hope you have a great night, and I will try and do another vlog tomorrow. Take care, and have a good night.